এটিও বলে রাখি যে আজকের পর্বটি বিকন বাংলার এই সময়ের একটি এক্সক্লুসিভ পর্ব। আজকের এই পর্বে আমরা তুলে ধরতে চাচ্ছি মুক্তা মেডিকেল কলেজ হাসপাতাল ঢাকায় অবস্থিত, সেখানে একটি ইন্টারন্যাশনাল অ্যাডভান্সড সার্জিক্যাল ওয়ার্কশপ যেটা অনুষ্ঠিত হবে 19শে সেপ্টেম্বর 2018। এবং এই ওয়ার্কশপে আগত 4টি ভিন্ন দেশ থেকে 4 জন বিশ্ব বরেণ্য কোলোরেক্টাল সার্জনস যারা আজ আমাদের মাঝে উপস্থিত আছেন। তাদের সাথে পরিচয় হওয়ার পূর্বে আমি আন্তরিকতার সাথে আপনাদেরকে পরিচয় করে দিতে চাচ্ছি যাদের অক্লান্ত পরিশ্রমে আজকের এই ওয়ার্কশপ হতে পারছে। প্রথমেই আমি পরিচয় করে দিব ইন্টারন্যাশনাল অ্যাডভান্সড সার্জিক্যাল ওয়ার্কশপ কমিটির মেম্বার সেক্রেটারি অ্যাসিস্ট্যান্ট প্রফেসর সার্জারি ডক্টর মোহাম্মদ মাহবুবুর রহমান কোচি স্যারকে, এবং আছেন ডক্টর মাহমুদ আলম, এজেড মাহমুদুল হাসান। এবারে পরিচয় করিয়ে দিব আমাদের অতিথিদের সাথে। At first, let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Rosana Yasmin Chanda, Medical Officer, Surgery, Mukta Medical College Hospital. We have got 3 members of the International Society of University of Cologne and Rectal Surgeons, and another guest from Thailand. Let me introduce with him Dr. Arun Rozana Sakul, MD, PhD. Narimantas Ivaldas Samalabishas, Director General, ISQCRS. Dr. Professor Ricardo Escalante, Vice President, ISQCRS. Then Dr. Professor Joseph Nanu Mensah, MD, Secretary General, ISQCRS. We are very much delighted to have you within us, and we are very much honored to have an interview with you directly. Without spending much time, I am and many doctors like me are very much eagerly waiting to hear a few things from you. Okay? I would like to start with Professor Dr. Arun Rozana Sakul. Sir, we know you have invented the procedure lift for fistula in anum. What made you think that another procedure like lift must be invented besides the conventional methods like fistulotomy or fistulectomy? Why did you thought about it?
If considered to be total sphincter piercer fistula surgery, the conventional surgical treatment of fistula, especially the complex one, usually end up with some loss of some control. You have to divide some part of the sphincter so that the limitation or the complication of the traditional fistula surgery. And for the lift, we do not have this problem. It's totally sphincter piercer. However, it is not perfect. It's something like surgeon dependent. It needs skill, and the outcome is not 100% for the success. The chance of success may be only 85% in an expert or skillful surgeon. But if you are the beginner, maybe only 70% or something to be success. So you have to learn more about the lift.
If you are an expert, then success rate is high.
Yes.
Then which patients gets more benefit through lift?
For the simple one, the low fistula one, fistulotomy is still the gold standard. For the deep one, involve thickness of the muscle, then lift may be better. To me, lift may be the best sphincter piercer surgery until now, but in future we do not know. So lift, in my opinion, is very good for complex transsphincteric fistula.
Let me ask about its prognosis and outcome. What's your opinion?
As I already told you, lift in the reiteration very, the success rate of the lift vary about maybe 60% to 95%. Because some use lift for very simple fistula, that higher success rate. If you use lift for very deep, very complex fistula, the success rate may be only 70 or 80%. However, if it heals, if it's success, the chance of long-term outcome is very, very high. For the true recurrent, I mean after the fistula has healed after lift, the true recurrent may be only 1% for long-term follow-up.
It's a great success. I must admit that your procedure has got a huge popularity and we hope for more. Thank you, sir. And Professor Dr. Narimantas Ibaldas Samalavisas, sir, I would like to ask you, if you please enlighten us about hand-assisted colorectal surgery in case of left hemicolectomy or sigmoidectomy. If you please tell us something.
Well, first of all, I would like to say that hand-assisted laparoscopic surgery is just one of the tools in the box. So I do plain laparoscopic surgery, I do transsanal surgeries, I do hand-assisted surgeries. Now, when I started doing hand-assisted surgery since 2006, I found some of the advantages of the surgery. One advantage is that, well, we do this surgery mostly for cancer. So when you start doing laparoscopic surgery, if that surgery is hand-assisted, it allows you to be very careful and very efficient from the very start of the surgery. I think that's the main advantage, because when you start learning laparoscopic surgery, there is a learning curve, and we know that learning curve of laparoscopic surgery is long. So hand-assisted laparoscopic surgery allows for cancer, allows you to cut the learning curve into a very short one. And what we noticed by training our residents, that when residents start doing laparoscopic hand-assisted surgery for left-sided colon cancer, their lymph node harvest, their complication rate, the clarity and the surgical specimen is very good from the very beginning. That is the essence of hand-assisted surgery, and at the same time is the bridge from open surgery, which most of us learn first, to laparoscopic surgery. But in no way I should say that straight laparoscopic surgery could be worse. No, it's just simply an approach.
That was very informative.
And a little bit more addition, you see, when we do traditional straight laparoscopic surgery, at the end of the procedure we still have to make a small incision to extract the specimen, unless we do the nose surgery and we extract the specimen through the natural organs, but that's not everyday surgery. So the idea of hand-assisted surgery is, from one point of view, to make this learning curve short, to make the surgery frankly faster, and to get the very good lymph node harvest. From another point of view, as we have to make a small incision at the end of surgery, why not to make the small incision at the very beginning of surgery and use our hand? That's another, obviously, philosophy under this type of surgery. But again, I welcome any kind of surgeries, and I'm not doing only hand-assisted surgery. It's just one of the two in my box, and I'm very pleased to have it.
Then many more things are coming.
Yes, that's right.
Sir, what are the treatment options in case of early rectal carcinoma?
Well, in case of early rectal carcinoma, obviously, first of all, the most important thing to state from the very beginning is staging. First of all, to detect whether cancer is early or not, we have to go for a very proper staging. And obviously, we have endoscopy for that, we have MRI. And even though MRI takes over, there is still some place for endorectal ultrasound. Of course, we should go for full-body CT to be sure that there are no metastatic disease in this particular patient. Now, traditionally in my training and in my country, we're always very cautious about offering transanal techniques for early rectal cancer, because it has been always technique which was related with a higher number of recurrence. So in my practice and in my country, we started to do more transanal excisions using transanal endoscopic microsurgery when this technique became available. So I would rather say that today, if we would go for early rectal cancer treatment, we should always think about the possibility of transanal techniques, but we should not overuse them. We should not abuse the transanal techniques, because whatever we do transanally, the classic surgery with TME, when it comes to recurrence rate, is better. So we have to, first of all, we have to select the patient very carefully. Then we have to allow the patient to choose which procedure he wants better. Because if we would go for TME in early rectal cancer, our recurrence rates would be very low, and the patient survival rates would be very high. Now we would offer transannual techniques, transannual microsurgery or TMEs, or any variation of it. We surely will have a little bit more of recurrences, and it may be or not maybe transformed to a long-term survival. So, despite that we have so many options for early rectal cancer, we should consider, to my mind, the most traditional options. That's total mesorectal excision. And to only a subgroup of patients, we should talk about transannual techniques, rectum-preserving techniques, and others. Thank you.
Then at first you must select the patient, and then you will think about the procedure.
Correct. And at the end, I think we always will have to discuss with the patient advantages and disadvantages. But there are so many patients who would rather go for TME rather than transannual excisions for early rectal cancer. And there are subgroup of patients who would never go for TME. They would rather choose a local excision with no stoma, preserve the sexual, urinary, and defecation function.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Professor Dr. Ricardo Escalante. Sir, we all know about different surgical methods for hemorrhoids in case of surgery. Is there any gold standard therapy for hemorrhoids? What is the
The concept of gold standard is an economical concept, and we surgeons bring this concept to our surgeries. And what means gold standard? Gold standard is a technique that has no complication, is easy to learn, easy to practice, and usually the learning curve should be short. And when review the different techniques for hemorrhoid surgery, we found that different alternatives is not perfect, it's not a gold standard, because there are some techniques that are easy to learn and easy to practice but are expensive. The other one problem is that the index of complication in some techniques is important, is high. And I think in this moment that the gold standard for hemorrhoid in this moment doesn't exist. And it's better to avoid this concept in this moment about hemorrhoidal disease.
Sir, after all these methods, recurrence is one of the problems in cases of hemorrhoidectomy. Do you have any advice that what we can do or what we can practice to prevent these recurrences?
To avoid recurrence?
Yeah, after
Okay,
surgery.
to avoid recurrence, if the patient don't change his style of life, the recurrence could be higher, okay? It's necessary that after surgery, the patient is necessary to change some activities, like ingest of fiber, liquid, and activity. It's the more important aspect to change.
Sir, another question I want to ask you that we are saying that PPH syndrome in case of hemorrhoidectomy. What is this and what is the treatment option? PPH syndrome.
Yes, when we talk about PPH syndrome, usually we are talking about the chronic pain in those patients. And it's one of the complications that we have with this technique. The problem is that when the device is used very low, close to the dental line, it's more probably that appear the chronic pain. And the key of the techniques is to do the fire of the dental lane, because if you do it very close, there are another complication that could occur, like stenosis is very important, chronic pain, and another kind of complication. It's necessary that the surgeon has a very good training in this practice, because, for example, in my country, 20 or 25 years ago, when we began the PPH, we have a few complications, because at the beginning, only colorectal surgeon began to practice the PPH. And after several years, the technique spread for general surgeons, and the complication in that moment increased, like the PPH syndrome.
Thank you, sir. I'm sure that the viewers who are listening these questions and answers must be benefited from you directly. Now, Professor Dr. Joseph Nanam Mensah, sir, you are the Secretary General of ISUCRS. I would like to ask you that you tell us something about this organization.
Okay, thank you very much. The organization is the International Society of University Colorectal Surgeons. It was first established in 1962 in Mexico City. It meets regularly with its biannual meetings. It's the only true international society, as we know, for colorectal diseases. There are lots of national societies which have very big society meetings, but this is really the only true international society. The big advantage of being an international society is that it allows us to network with different countries like Bangladesh. It allows us to share knowledge, standardizations of treatments, and making sure that, all around the world, that all surgeons, if they want to learn about colorectal disease, have the opportunity to learn from worldwide surgeons like ourselves. It also allows us to participate in programs like yours. To come and visit your first international workshop is an absolute pleasure. And hopefully, we'll be able to go around various different countries as the International Society of University Colorectal Surgeons, providing this essential need in terms of training.
Thank you, sir. In our country, the master's degree in colorectal surgery is comparatively new. As a result, the qualified general surgeons are performing the colorectal cases. They are bound to do that for patients' demand. And then, how they can approach to your organization to have a specific skill developing techniques, or how they can approach to you to learn more.
Sure.
If you shared us, then it would be very beneficial.
And your question is a very valid question. I mean, colorectal disease is not general surgery. And I think a lot of people think that it's easy as a general surgeon to take on colorectal disease, but it's actually a very highly specialized area. Treatment of fistulas, treatment of cancers, inflammatory bowel disease, endometriosis involves technical knowledge, skill, understanding. And I think the only way to do that, as you said, is to have the opportunity to visit surgeons, which hopefully the International Society of Colorectal Surgeons will allow us to do in developing countries. To visit, to see surgeons work. Surgeons can participate in your own program, in your own hospitals, to try and make sure that that knowledge is well established and that training, that skill set you can achieve. So our role is not just, an organization that has meetings, but hopefully will participate in training and give people opportunities to come and visit other surgeons in their institute to learn.
Then we can hope that you will come again in our country if we arrange this kind of conference again.
We will. Thank you.
If I can add a little bit, Dr. Joseph Nanam Mensah, with his extraordinary skills and understandings in not only colorectal surgery, but in some other audiovisual techniques, let's say so. So he's actually has developed a special page on the website of ISUCRS, where it would be possible to see our meetings, our international meetings, for example, the meeting in London, which he hosted and organized, and he was the Congress President. And actually, while being here in Dhaka or in Bangladesh, if you will become a member of the International Society of University Colorectal Surgeons, you can go to our page and see this wonderful conference with high-skilled speakers, with video demonstrations, with everything. So it will allow you from your home to access, how to say, the top level of colorectal surgery. And maybe he can tell a lot of more his ideas which he's going to put into life.
Yes, I mean, that's essential. I mean, so many times you go to meet and listen to a presentation, you don't quite follow the subject very well, but then to go back and be able to listen to it again is very, very important. I think one of the other things which we're hopefully going to do more in the society, we're going to hopefully have more web-based conferences. So it's not only physically going to a meeting, we'll have teleconferences, web-based conferences, which we've had two from Venezuela, which have been very, very effective and very well received.
Thank you, sir. Viewers, you heard the discussion, and I am sure that you have enjoyed and learned many things. দর্শক, এতক্ষণ আপনারা শুনছিলেন কোলোরেক্টাল সার্জারির উপরে বিশ্ববরেণ্য চারজন কোলোরেক্টাল সার্জনের মতামত। এবং সেই সাথে আপনাদের সামনে উপস্থাপনা করছি 19 সেপ্টেম্বর মুগদা মেডিকেল কলেজ হাসপাতালে অনুষ্ঠিতব্য ইন্টারন্যাশনাল অ্যাডভান্সড সার্জিক্যাল ওয়ার্কশপ এই সম্পর্কে। আপনাদের যদি আরো কিছু জানার থাকে তাহলে ভিজিট করুন আমাদেরকে। এবং পরবর্তী অনুষ্ঠান যেটা বিকন বাংলা এই সময় দেখার জন্য আমন্ত্রণ জানিয়ে শেষ করছি এবং বিদায় নিচ্ছি। আর যদি আমাদের অনুষ্ঠান ভালো লেগে থাকে তবে সাবস্ক্রাইব করুন beaconbangla.com। ধন্যবাদ। ধন্যবাদ আপনাদের সবাইকে।
Thank you.
ধন্যবাদ।